Now we're going to talk about Dinah. Dinah was the daughter of Leah that she had with Jacob. She's the only girl in the group of the boys. So Dinah went out to see the daughters of the land. In other words, there were no girls, no sisters, so she was going to go check out and find some girls to hang out with, because all she had was a bunch of brothers. And when Shechem, the son of Hamor, the Hittite, prince of the country, saw her, he took her and lay with her and violated her. Now they throw this all in one phrase, like as if he'd raped her against her will. But if she'd been gone out to visit with the other girls and hang out with them, her and this guy probably already had a little thing going, and eventually, boom, they did it. Because the way the guy acts about her, he wants to marry her, so he didn't just violate her as in a violent way. Somehow I think she was a little bit consenting. And his very being yearned for Dinah, the daughter of Jacob, and he loved the girl and spoke kindly to the girl. And Shechem, spoke kindly, loved her. She was a willing participant in this. And Shechem spoke to his father Hamor, saying, "Get me this girl for my wife." And Jacob heard that he had defiled Dinah his daughter. Now his sons were with his cattle in the field, and Jacob held his peace until they came. And Hamor, the father of Shechem, went out to Jacob to speak with him. And the sons of Jacob came out of the field when they heard it. And the men were grieved, and they were extremely angry, because he had wrought folly in Israel by lying with Jacob's daughter, which thing ought not be done. And Hamor spoke with them, saying, "My son Shechem's whole being longs for your daughter. I pray for you to give her to him for his wife, and make marriages with us, giving your daughters to us, and taking our daughters for you. And you will dwell with us, and the land will be before you. Live and trade here, and get possessions for yourselves. Settle down. Let's be family." Because obviously they could see how much Jacob had, so he'd be getting an asset to being a family member. So it was beneficial. "Let me find favor in your eyes, and I shall give whatever you tell me. Ask me whatever bribe price and gift, and I shall give whatever you say to me. But give me the girl for my wife." That's what Shechem said to her father and her brother. So he's like, I'll give you anything, whatever, just give me her for my wife. He's obsessed. He's infatuated. In love, whatever. And the sons of Jacob answered Shechem and Hamor his father deceitfully, and said, "Because he has defiled Dinah their sister." They said to him, "We cannot do this thing to give our sister to one that is uncircumcised, for that is a reproach to us. But we will consent to you by this, if you will be as we are, that every male of yours will be circumcised." Well, see, they had a plan here. "We will give our daughters to you, and we will take your daughters for us, and we'll dwell with you, and we'll become one people, one big happy family. But if you won't heed this to be circumcised, then we'll take our daughters and be gone." And their words pleased Hamor and Shechem. Hamor's son had no problem with this at all. He was in love. And the young man did not delay to do this thing, because he had delight in Jacob's daughter, and he was more honorable than all the houses of his father Hamor. So, in other words, Shechem wasn't really a bad guy. Yeah, he made a mistake by not going by the rules of engagement, but he had no problem as an adult cutting off his foreskin to marry this lady, this girl. I mean, that had to be a little bit more of a problem when you're grown up than when you're a baby, I would guess. And Hamor and Shechem his son came to the gate of their city, and spoke with the men of the whole city, saying, "These men are peaceable with us. Let them stay in the land and trade here. The land is large enough for them and us, and let us take their daughters to us for wives, and give them our daughters. Only if we do this will the men consent to dwell with us to be one people, if every male among us is circumcised, as they are." Will not their cattle and their possessions and every animal of theirs be ours? Only let us consent to them, and they will stay with us. And all who went out of the gate of his city paid heed to Hamor and to Shechem, and every male got circumcised, all that went out that city gate. And it was on the third day, when they were the sorest after said circumcisions, that two of the sons of Jacob, Simeon and Levi, Dinah's brothers, took their swords, and came upon the city boldly and slew all the males. They slew Hamor and Shechem his son with the edge of the sword, and took Dinah out of Shechem's house and left. So they basically killed, her brothers killed her love, her husband, and all their family and everybody, and drug her back home. Kind of wonder how she felt about them after that. The sons of Jacob went upon the slain and sacked the city because they had defiled their sister. They took their sheep, their oxen, their donkeys, with that which was in the city and out in the field, and all their wealth and all their little ones, and basically took their children and their wives captive, and took even all that was in the house. And Jacob said to Simeon and Levi, "You've caused trouble for me to make me loathsome among the inhabitants of the land, among the Canaanites and the Perizzites. And since I am few in number, they will gather themselves together against me and slay me, and I shall be destroyed, I and my house." And they said, "Should he deal with our sister as with a prostitute?" They blew it up a little too much. They didn't even consult their father on this action. They just did it. It says something about them and their ways. Impulsive, not very well thought out, just short fuses. As they say in Spanish, mecha corta. From Shechem to Bethel. Then God said to Jacob, "Arise, go up to Bethel and live there, and make an altar to God, who appeared to you when you fled from the face of Esau, your brother." Then Jacob told the whole household, "Put away the strange gods that are among you." The strange gods were these idols they'd taken from Shechem. "And be clean and change your garments. And let us rise and go to Bethel, and there I shall make an altar to God, who answered me in the day of my distress, and was with me in the way which I went." And they gave to Jacob all the strange gods which were in their hand, and the rings which were in their ears. And Jacob hid them under the oak which was by Shechem. And they journeyed, and the terror of God was upon the cities, that they were all around them. And they did not pursue after the sons of Jacob. So Jacob came to Luz, which is in the land of Canaan, that is Bethel, he and all the people with him. And he built an altar there, and called the place El Bet El, because God appeared to him there, when he fled from the face of his brother. And Deborah, Rebekah's nurse, died, and she was buried below Bethel, under an oak. And the name of it was called Elon Bakut, Oak of Weeping. So we'll hear about Rebekah's nurse like twice. That she went with her whenever whenever Isaac married Rebekah, Rebekah's nurse went with her. She was like, I guess, her nanny growing up. And she must have been very close. She must have been like a granny, like a nana to the whole family, because they mentioned her dying and the oak of great weeping. So they must have just been really attached to her. She must have been this sweet lady. I mean, because she has two specific places where she's mentioned in Genesis, when she left to go with them and when she passed away. So we'll stop right there.